come to this feeling that I have, that you have, that a lot of the prophets that you just mentioned have, that God is about to do something.
Oh, and I was going to mention Julie Green, rock star.
Yeah. I just was introduced, not physically introduced to her, but to her material. I just found out about her. Let me put it that way. And I think it was through you being on her show, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I hear prophets speak, I see the cycles of the future, so I know if they're full of it or if they're like, they're the real deal,
so
right?
True.
And so I'm telling you, so the four that I've mentioned, and also Lois Vogel Sharp, those 5 are true rock stars, and so those are the real rock stars, not what's going on in Hollywood and everywhere else.
Yeah, no, I get it. So what are the things that you're seeing in the cycles that kind of are melding with what the prophets are getting, that God's actually getting ready to do something awesome?
Right. So what I have in my cycles is the greatest move. I haven't. So I have the move that's about to happen. He showed me how to calculate it. And so I have the move that's about to happen. I don't know the day. I want to be clear with this. I have the cycle, the pattern. I don't have the day and the hour, but I have, I believe, the week. And I do have the month. Okay. How this is about to play out. So the cycles, and because how do you calculate? How do you figure things out? Well, God does nothing before first speaking through his servants, the prophets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know that. So that's a way of confirming what I'm saying. What is a cycle? Cycles. What is God's money? Well, you read Haggai 2:8. The silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord. I've been on Elijah Street when I stated this. This is so critically important to understand the concept of what I'm about to say here is God's kingdom, and it's going to say it both ways. God's kingdom that we're waiting for, the birth of it, the rise of God's kingdom, okay? The kingdom economy, God's kingdom that's going to rise will not rise without God's money. But I'm going to repeat this. God's money, gold and silver, will not rise until the birth of God's kingdom.
I'm going to cry.
So they're tied at the hip. Neither one is going to happen. That's why gold and silver has been manipulated for generations, because it's God's money. And an evil got in the middle of the money system, and then they've created bond. They basically put everybody in bondage for 30 years. Okay,
bonds are bondage.
So you're in bondage for 30 years, or you owe for your college education $200,000-$300,000. So everybody's in bondage, and if you don't have that, you got a credit card. So you're in bondage right now. So this is the whole essence. They've created a money system where everybody's in bondage, and now it's a matter of how do we get out of it? And so this is where we're going to see something truly biblical occur, where God's going to intervene. And so that takes me to the word, so that's why gold and silver will not rise without God's kingdom, the birthing of it. And the birthing of the God's kingdom will be tied in directly with the move of God's money. And what is God's money? Well, we know that silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord. So to answer your question, there's a move that's about to happen, which I see on my charts right now, that is that only happened once in history. And I have the chart for it. And it's about to happen again. And it goes back hundreds of years, these cycles, some of them. And so there's a move that's about to happen that's going to be historic, and it's going to happen in April. And
it melts with my spirit. It melts with my spirit. It melts with, when you get this is so God, okay? No, seriously, we ran into you on the very last moment at Canton. This is a shift that we have gotten since Michelle was homeschooled in high school, and she's bringing out this textbook, and she's like, we have to pull all our money out of the bank and buy gold. And my mom's a single mom. She's got like $700 in there. We can't buy the gold, but we believe it. Okay, we know. And so since then, it began. We went on the journey. We've been following the gold charts. We've been following the silver charts. We personally recommend silver because that's where we're at financially. We've actually had some viewers send us some gold. It's very little. It comes in like these little tiny squares. We've bought some gold. But here's the thing: if you had gotten in on gold in the early 90s, you would just be set. Okay, this gold has skyrocketed, and it's still undervalued.
This is the thing. Okay, so everything's relative. So I agree with what you're saying, but here's the thing: is okay. You want to say gold is skyrocketed? Okay, well that's fine and dandy, right? But look at Bitcoin. You know, it was $1 or $2, and now it's $40,000.
Sure,
okay,
sure.
so that's called a skyrocket versus gold.
You're right. Yeah,
$250 back in 1999.
That's a good point.
God's got a 12. Gold's got a God cycle. You know, just again back to God, right? So a year ends at 12 months, right? 12 apostles. Okay, so 1999, 12 years. Gold topped out in 2011. So exactly 12 years. Okay, so
you're right. You're right.
It's a really good point. So, but when it topped out, it went from $250, $253, I believe it was, to $1,920 in 2011. So that's not. And so right now it's back to that price level again. But see, again, they've been manipulating it forever. So what they do, how they do this is paper contracts. Okay. James 5, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for the miseries that shall come upon you. Your gold and silver is cankered. Okay, so this is not God's gold and silver. Your gold and silver, that's their paper contracts, is cankered.
So you're bringing to our viewers the biblical side of this. It's my mom does this a lot, and it's really important.
Right, because she gets it from your show.
Well, yeah, but it's been in her spirit. When you're talking about like, I do have to. Yeah, I'm going to walk that back a little bit because gold. You're right. It did not skyrocket the way it should and where it should be, and it's
Yeah, I'm not knocking you. I'm saying you're right. It went up, but this is the problem, right? It's not done what it's supposed to have done.
Exactly.
And so we're waiting for that moment in time. That's what we're still waiting for it to have that moment in time that we truly are going to see what's called when commodities is called true price discovery.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So Bitcoin is experiencing true price discovery. That's why it's $40,000. Okay, because they're creating money out of thin air. So therefore, Bitcoin is experiencing with all the manipulation. The only manipulation they can do with Bitcoin is they all call each other up. Hey, okay, on Friday afternoon, but usually it's in the cycle, so we know that, right? On Friday afternoon on the 21st, let's all like go on the news, and we're all gonna like poo-poo on Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what they do. And then you see, Bitcoin died again, right? So, Bitcoin just died,
Yeah.
And it died like 500 times already, and it keeps going back to life all the time. Because, the point is because there's only 21 million ever to be made, so you cannot manipulate it that much, no matter how much paper they can create. The problem is, ultimately, you can't control it to its degree you want because there's a finite amount of Bitcoin. Okay,
right.
So it is experiencing to some degree of what's called true price discovery. On the other hand, gold and silver, they're not experiencing true price discovery,
right? Because
they've got what's called paper contracts. And so paper contracts, they sell that contract 500 times over. So it's like you bought a car and you take that car and you sell it to 500 of your friends.
Right.